They use their media to assassinate real news. They use their schools to teach children that their president is another Hitler.
Oh boy. So a lot of you guys have DM'd me and sent me this NRA PSA that's going viral at the moment with close to 3 million views and counting. And it's absolutely terrifying because it's 100,000% a call to arms for every gun-owning, tin-foiled nutjob in America to rise up against the violent left. It's also identical to ISIS videos that seek to radicalize Muslims living in Western nations, and I'm going to describe to you exactly how. But, to be fair and balanced, points on hiring a Republican commentator who's not blonde at least. Tommy Lauren. Diversity! But here, let's take a look.
They use their movie stars and singers and comedy shows and award shows to repeat their narrative over and over again.
Yeah, those damn liberals and their entertaining movies. I hate them. Well, if you're so distraught with our narrative and entertainment, here's a unique idea. Make better movies. I'm looking right at you, Steve Bannon. Make one movie that doesn't consist solely of old stock footage with your weird anti-globalist Western world versus evil forces narrative, and maybe someone other than horny, pimple-faced internet trolls will pay attention to it. But back to this video.
And then they use their ex-president to endorse the resistance, all to make them march, make them protest.
Which is a fundamental right given to us by our Constitution. A fact that the NRA and the rest of the Republican Party constantly forget when it doesn't fit their narrative. You understand that tyrannical governments don't only happen under a Democratic administration, right? You get that. And that's at the heart of this hypocrisy. The right like to identify themselves as protectors of the Constitution and then put out a call to arms when the left exercise their constitutional rights. You can't play favorites here. These aren't Trump's children, and the Second Amendment isn't Ivanka, and then the rest of the Constitution is Tiffany Trump. And look, by the way, unlike your typical whiny, snowflakey liberal who wants to take away your guns, I have a lot of experience with weapons. Like, I've shot AR-15s, I have friends that are responsible gun owners, and they are also outraged by this ad. But go on, tell us why we march, Dana Lewis. Tell us about the fundamental issues that this very vocal opposition feels is eroding America's values and threatening the safety of its citizens.
Make them scream racism.
Preach, sister.
And sexism.
Yup.
And homophobia.
And
xenophobia.
Nailed it. Except Dana, of course, frames these systemic problems as just typical snowflake shouting. But let's take racism, for example. We marched for Philando Castile. Was that not a cause worth marching for? After all, this is a video from the NRA, an organization created to protect the Second Amendment. But they didn't make a single fucking peep about responsible gun owner Philando Castile being executed at a traffic stop for the crime of having a license to carry while being black. If you really gave two shits about gun rights instead of operating as a far-right bullshit-generating machine, you'd be outraged. And that gross double standard around protecting the Second Amendment is identical to what the NRA is doing in this exact video against the First Amendment, as they proceed to tell us how these same liberals complaining about nonsensical, made-up issues like racism are becoming increasingly more violent.
To smash windows, burn cars, shut down interstates and airports, bully and terrorize the law-abiding.
In such a violent way that
the only option left is for the police to do their jobs and stop the madness.
So the same NRA that tried its goddamn best to arm every government-fearing maniac with assault rifles because Barack Obama and his government thugs were coming to get their guns is now in favor of a police state as it's the only bulwark against liberal anarchy. How odd. Except it isn't that odd when you think about the decline of gun sales since Trump became president. Gun sales skyrocket when people fear that the government will ban them. This is something we found out after Sandy Hook, when the AR-15 used to mow down little children was all of a sudden the must-have purchase for anyone with a camo hat and a "Don't Tread on Me" bumper sticker. And now, since these nutsos control all of the government, there's no more need to use those guns. Until now.
The only way we stop this, the only way we save our country and our freedom.
How do we do it, Dana? Tell us how, goddammit, I'm riled up!
Is to fight this violence of lies with the clenched fist of truth.
Fuck! No! No! God damn it! This is the single most disgusting, irresponsible, terrifying ad I've ever watched. And if you're a responsible gun owner, you should be fucking outraged that this organization that claims to proudly fight for your rights is basically putting out a propaganda video to violently fight back against the left because that's the only way these merchants of death can think to push more product. This video is literally no different than ISIS recruitment videos that try to radicalize Muslims. It adopts identical divisive tactics and tries to instill fear within the public. And the result will likely be the same, to radicalize already unstable individuals to act out by committing terrifying acts of violence against innocent members of the public. And the difference is, those people have a lot more guns. Here's an NRA ad idea when all this blows over. The left is responsible for winning the Civil War. Never forget that. End them. Buy more guns and literally kill them. Thanks. That's the only way, guys. Please buy more guns. I'm Hassan Piker. Please share this video with your friends if you're outraged by this insanely irresponsible NRA ad. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Hassan D. Piker and on Twitter at Hassan the Hun. And this has been The Breakdown.